Welcome everyone to Discover This. Today we got another video on biker violence, this time between the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club and the Axemen Motorcycle Club, and it all takes place in San Diego County. So let's get to it. In 1970, the Hells Angels had a clubhouse in the Mission Valley area of San Diego. On June 24th, 1970, the Hells Angels were at their clubhouse, and so were the Axemen MC. At some point in time during that night, a conflict occurred and then a fight started. This was around 4 a.m. and Axemen President Richard McCart pulled a sawed-off shotgun and killed Andrew Horn, the Hells Angels San Diego Vice President. Later that morning, McCart was traffic stopped in the city of El Cajon and arrested. He was charged with first-degree murder and he went to court. At the end of the trial, he was acquitted and found not guilty of first-degree murder, and he was released. McCart promptly fled California. Now fast forward to March of 1977, law enforcement was conducting a search warrant at a San Diego Hells Angels member's home, and they found on a piece of paper the new address of Richard McCart in Texas. The Hells Angels were tracking him. The procession for Andrew Horn's funeral was a long one. Law enforcement estimated there was about 250 Hells Angels leading the procession, and then all the people that were bringing up the back. And they made their way through the streets of San Diego to here, to Mount Hope Cemetery in San Diego. And Andrew Horn is laid to rest here inside Mount Hope Cemetery. Now, interestingly enough, he's not buried near where the majority of the other Dago Hells Angels are laid to rest here in this cemetery. In fact, Andrew Horn is actually laid to rest in the section where the Mongols are buried. Right down there on the other side of that tree, that shaded tree, right over in there is where the two Mongols are buried that the Hells Angels shot off their motorcycles. If you watched that video that we did, and you should have, that's where those two Mongols are laid to rest, right down there. And Andrew Horn right here. In 1973, Scott Abner, a full-patch member of the Axemen MC, and William Osborne, a full-patch member of the Hessians MC, were found guilty of the murder of Edwin Lee York, a San Diego Hells Angels associate. Both Abner and Osborne were sentenced to life in prison. The Axemen had a clubhouse, and on September 30th, 1975, while some of the Axemen were hanging out at their clubhouse, a bomb exploded, injuring, actually almost killing, two members, but injuring a few of them. You can see in this grainy photo, this horribly grainy photo, hopefully you can see some of the damage and things. This is the only photo I could find. Now, in later years, an informant told law enforcement that Thomas Renzulli, the then president of the San Diego charter of the Hells Angels, had organized the bombing, which was done by remote control. In 1976, a member of the Axemen MC was shot off his motorcycle and killed. Then on Labor Day weekend, 1977, you may recall, if you watched our previous video, some of the Hells Angels from the San Diego charter were lying in wait for Mongols members on the freeway north of Escondido, California. They eventually shot and killed two as they were riding their motorcycles south. Now that same weekend, other members of the San Diego Hells Angels were sent out to the desert near El Centro, California to look for Axemen MC members who were reportedly having a run out in the desert. They were never able to find any Axemen, and later on, Thomas Renzulli was arrested for his participation in the planning of those Mongols' murders and for possessing explosives. On April 25th, 1979, Carlos Gonzalez, a full-patch member of the Axemen MC, walked into a bar here in El Cajon, California, and he ordered a beer. He was wearing his cuts, or his colors, and there were three other individuals inside the bar: Lyle Hood, Mitchell Smiley, and Dale Britches, all Hells Angels associates. And they started making remarks about Gonzalez and his cuts, or his colors. Gonzalez went over to confront the three, and he ended up hitting Hood, and the fight was on. The fight moved outside, and the three individuals collectively beat Gonzalez. Gonzalez ended up getting stabbed 8 times, once in the neck and 7 times in the back, and he was left to bleed to death on the sidewalk. Hood, Smiley, and Bretches were all arrested, and all were convicted of murder. In February 1989, Gregory Chiric, a full-patch member of the Axemen MC, was wearing his cuts and sitting on his motorcycle outside a check cashing place here in the 300 block of El Cajon Boulevard in the city of El Cajon. Now the neighborhood's changed a little bit. The check cashing place is no longer here. But around 11:10 p.m. he was sitting on his motorcycle and someone came by and shot and killed him. This case is still unsolved, a cold case homicide. Now currently, the Hells Angels clubhouse is just 1 block away from this intersection here. If you can see that billboard down there, and underneath it there's a Ram gas station. The clubhouse is right next to the Ram gas station. I don't believe the Hells Angels clubhouse was there in 1989, but I could be wrong. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this video on biker violence. We have other videos. If you like this one, we have others. You can check out our true crime playlist and pick your poison out of there, I guess. But we have a lot of variety, different videos. We got a lot more coming, and we will see you next time on Discover This.